All right. We are back here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Rock Cave. I'm your host, Mark Pierce. It's Thursday, Thirsty Thursday. For those of you who are thirsty, it is Thursday. What are we talking about today? This is a topic that's been floating around my household for months and months, maybe even a year or more, that Sarah has said, we got to cover this one, and we were talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, I got to work on my list, though. It's taking me a while. But we're talking about songs about being 17 years old, either in the title or mentioning it in the song. It seemed like there were a lot of songs out there about being 17, and there are, turns out. And some of them are awesome and great. Some start to get a little bit creepy, and we'll talk about all of that. But there are a lot of songs about being 17. There's more songs about 17, it seems, than anything else. As far as 15, 16, I mean, good. 18, you think 18 would be the safe one to pick. But for whatever reason, it's 17. In the 50s, it was 16 candles, that kind of stuff, and Sweet 16. I mean, they were talking a lot about that. Yeah. I think it also came down because that song by Benny Mardones would come on Into the Night, and the first line is "She was only 16." And that one's a pretty creepy song. And he had to explain, in order to get the radio stations to play it even, he had to explain that it was written from the viewpoint of a teenage boy. He said it was an 18-year-old. Something like that. But anyway, that's how that topic came up in my house. So let's talk about a bunch of them. There's a whole bunch out there. The first one that comes to mind, the classic one, the great song, is Edge of 17, Stevie Nicks. And there's nothing not to like here. This is a great song. Iconic on her part. That opening drum beat sings a song, sounds like she's singing. Great song. Long song. Love that it tells a story. Her voice, the guitar. That's an awesome way to start out. Nothing wrong with that song. Like I said, that's a great one right there. If you want to go way back in time, as far as the oldest one I could come up with, the Beatles, I saw her standing there while she was just 17. They were pretty young when they sang that, right? And then in 1975, Janice Ian put out a song called At 17. I didn't hear that song till about 20 years ago, but that's about her struggles as a 17-year-old and her looks compared to others. But that's a very well-known song. We were out and we were out and about, and we were somewhere, and this song came on, and we're singing it. And as soon as we started singing it, we looked at each other and we were like, we didn't even have this one on our list. But Dancing Queen by ABBA. What a great song that one is. I mean, everyone loves that song. That's great. And it's Your Dancing Queen, young and sweet, only 17. There it is right there. Another good one. All Summer Long by Kid Rock, a song that he sings reminiscing about being teenagers when he was 17. So they're all 17 or so in the song. She was 17 and was far from in between. But I like that song. That's a good one. I Love Rock and Roll, Joan Jett. That's I knew he must have been about 17. Remember that one? That's a good one. Let's Go by The Cars. Did you catch that one? She's winding them down, her clock machine, and she won't give up because she's 17. Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. Parking song, right? We were barely 17, and we were barely dressed. It's just, again, singing about when he was 17. Sexy and 17, Stray Cats. I checked this out. It sounds like they're all teenagers in the song. It sounds like they're talking about skipping school or doing something to the teacher or whatever it is. So, it says, well, she's sexy and 17, my little rock and roll queen. Acts a little bit obscene, but it sounds like it's the view of kids. And, we were 17 when a lot of these songs were being played, so we didn't think twice about it. There's a song from Green Day called Coming Clean off of Dookie. That's kind of a deep cut, but I played that record a lot when it came out, and that's 17 and Strung Out on Confusion, if you don't know that one. Then we get into a little bit of sketchy area. We get to 17 by Winger. This was a great song when it came out in 88, when I was 20. She said I'm only 17. Daddy says she's too young, but she's old enough for me. I mean, he got into some hot water for that. He was 27 years old when he sang that. He's 62 now, by the way. So that's when we start getting into the areas where you're kind of like, ooh, I don't know if that one aged very well, but the song itself, very popular, was a great song at the time. The biggest offender, in my opinion, is the song that didn't show up on any list. I did end up, after I had my list, looking up through threads, and it turns out, well, pretty much everything's been thought of, and this has already been hashed over on the internet, and someone had started a thread, and people had posted many of the same songs below, and many that I'd never heard of, but nobody had mentioned this one at all. And we were listening to this one in high school in the mid-'80s a lot. And that's Rick James' song 17. This is a great song by Rick James as far as his music is concerned. I think it's one of his best. And I always loved this song. And it's creepy. And especially since the way his life turned out and what he went to prison for. And he was 37 when he sang this song. So this one's a rough one. Does not age well. But anyway, it's 17 by Rick James. You can check it out. It's too bad, but it's a good song as far as songs are concerned. But it's very painful to listen to, and there's a lot of that stuff out there like that doesn't age well. In my travels, when I was looking at that list, a lot of people were mentioning this band, The Wallows, and I'd never heard of them before. I had to look it up, but I'm going to add it. It's an LA band that had been floating around. I mean, they were floating around in the 2000s. They played the Horde Tour, I think, in 2011. They started putting out EPs and records, got signed. It's alternative music. It's decent. I had to look it up. I'd never heard of it, but they have a song from 2018 from their EP called Spring, and the song is called 1980s Horror Film. And the line is, why are girls in songs always 17? There you go. We're not the ones to think of it. Someone else already did, but we'll post that one. That was pretty good. We're going to post all these. There's going to be a lot of songs posted below. But those are the main ones that we got about 17. And again, some great, some starting to tiptoe into creepiness along the way, but of adult men singing about 17-year-olds. There's a lot of great songs in here, and a bunch of them. I just can't remember. What do you think? Did I miss any that you guys know about? Post them below. If I did, check out the list below too, if you can. Whatever you're doing today, I hope it involves music. And as usual, I'll catch you on the flip side.
Baby.